Hello and welcome to this third lecture on in building sales excellence, where we're going to talk about how do we set goals as a part of developing strategy for your territory. As you know, I am Arun Singhal, your management coach and mentor with 40 years of experience in people development. So, what are we going to do today in this session? In this session, we are going to give you an in-depth understanding of how can you develop strategy for your territory that can help you not only meet but exceed sales target and become excellent sales professional. There are four parts of developing strategy, and in this lesson, which basically focus on how do we set the right goals, and the next lecture we'll formulate on the remaining three portions. So, how do you think we can develop the strategy? You have this annual sales plan in front of you that can help you not only meet but exceed sales targets, and there are four elements of that. So, how do you develop the strategy? Any thoughts? You want to take 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds, pause the video and come back? Okay. So the way we develop the sales strategy is a simple four-step process, simple as it sounds, but there are a lot of depth that is required to understand that. We begin by setting the goals for the sales target. The sales target very broadly defined, and we had said there are four types of sales goals we can set. So setting those goals, right? Not only specific goals for the year at least. Then we go into identifying enablers and barriers. What is helping us achieve those sales targets? What is preventing us from achieving these targets? We identify that. Third step would be to identify from those set of enablers and barriers couple of strategies, and that's how we do take the third step. And we will talk about that as we go forward. And the final step in developing this annual sales plan or sales strategy is converting those strategies to time-bound action plans, because ultimately the proof of pudding is in eating it, right? So any strategy that you set must have action plans that can help you achieve those goals that you have set for yourselves to meet. So that's how the process is. So how do we set the right objectives and goals? And in this lecture, we're going to focus on the first part of setting objectives and goals. So what do you think? How will you set right objectives and goals? Any thoughts? Want to take a pause? Think, share your understanding? Okay. So let me share with you how you can set the right objectives and goals. So it starts with understanding first your manager's expectation. You need to go to your manager and say, hey, sir, understand. If it is the first time you meeting, he says, wonderful. I would like to spend some time understanding my roles, expectations. What are your expectations from me in this role? And even if you've been there, you could go to your manager and say, hey, so wonderful working with you. I'd like to freshly understand your expectations for the upcoming year. So understand expectations from your manager. Second thing would be to assess the expectation of the manager versus the ground realities using SWOT, a heavily loaded second step, and we will see how to do that. So the expectation of the manager may not be right. Normally, managers' expectations can be high because they also want to stretch you, right? So, but you need to see that you are setting realistic goals, smart goals, specific, measurable, realistic, ambitious, but still achievable and time-bound goals. So we need to see against the ground realities, and that can be done using the SWOT. And finally, once you have done this middle portion, the second step, then you review the expectation with your manager using the SWOT that you have taken. You take the SWOT, you take his expectation, put that together in front of him and say, hey, sir, this is what it looks like. So let's see, what do we need to do? And so it could happen is that he says, yeah, okay, let's tone this particular thing down. Oh, there's more up thing here. Let's do this more. So you come to some agreed goals in this. So how will you use? The key thing in this is the second step of assessing expectations of your manager versus the ground realities using SWOT. So how will you use SWOT to assess the expectation? Any thoughts? Before we do that, what is SWOT? You want to note down what is SWOT and tally with what I'm going to tell you? Okay. So what is SWOT? So SWOT is simply an acronym for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Now, strength and weaknesses are what are internal to your organization, your function, right? If you're in sales, what are things that you have that you do well internally? It could be your ability to convert clients, ability to get leads, building new relationship. What are your weaknesses? To build profit, to get profit, ask for the right price. So you determine what are you good at, what you're not good at. And what you see is there are strengths are something that are helpful to you. They can help you achieve the objective because you're good at them, right? So strengths are something that is internal and they are helpful. Weaknesses are something because you are not good at that. While they are internal to you, since you are not good at that, they come in the way of achieving your objective. Opportunities and threats are external. This is outside of you. You don't control them. So it could be in sales, it could be something out of you, it could be something in operations. If you are running an independent business, it could be outside your company. It should be completely anywhere outside. It could be outside of you, within the company, or outside the company. And opportunities are something that can help you achieve your objectives, but outside. And threats are that is something that can happen that can prevent you from achieving your objective, but of external origin. So get a good understanding of SWOT, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So how will we use, having understood SWOT, how can you use SWOT to assess those managers' expectations? Any thoughts now? Want to note down on a piece of paper? Come back and tally notes. Important step, very important. Otherwise, you will end up doing what your manager says. So if you need to have a good idea of how sensible or how realistic are the expectations of manager. You need to use SWOT to assess the expectations of your manager. Okay, this is how you use SWOT to assess whether you are set your expectation of the manager right. So you put your SWOT on one side and say, given your SWOT and given your manager, are there enough opportunities to convert and meet each of the goals, meet and exceed each of the goals? So you say, are there enough opportunities? You have discovered an opportunity. You say, do I have enough opportunity to meet or exceed my goals? Do I have strengths? You ask this question. Do we have strengths to convert these opportunities? So you have opportunities. Can we convert them? And if we can convert them, if the opportunities, then I think this goal is achievable. Then you need to look at, are there any threats outside that can affect what you are achieving? And you have to ask questions, can we mitigate the potential threats? Can I do something to minimize the damage that these external threats will cause me? And the fourth thing that say, if I have certain weaknesses, can I take care of my weaknesses, or can I work in an area that makes them completely ineffective? So can I stick to that area where my strengths continue to help me, but my weaknesses don't come in the way? Make sense, guys and girls? How to ask few questions that can help you assess your manager's expectation using the SWOT. So the $1 million question now is, how will you determine SWOT? Is there a process? One of the ways is obviously, which is what I started initially, and then I learned through a wonderful process called Signature of Quality in Johnson & Johnson. They asked us tough questions. So he says, how do you develop your SWOT? And we said, what we do is we sit down in a room and brainstorm and put down on a piece of paper what we think is right. And they said, is that the right process? And we discovered processes that I'm going to share with you now. So the SWOT analysis process comes, as you see on the right of side in your green boxes, is looking at and answering few questions again about what's happening around this. And this comes from the wonderful work Michael Porter did in his work called The Competitive Strategy. This was done in decades back, I think in 1960s, but still a wonderful piece. This is available on the web now since it's out of the copyright times. You can go and look at this book any point of time. It's a wonderful read for anyone wanting to know more about strategy. So here we do 4 steps. We look at success factor analysis. We answer the questions like, what are the key success factors in my industry? So we are analyzing what's happening around us. So we understand the key success factor. Second, from there we say, based on the industry and comparative analysis and the key success factor, what are my strengths? What is it that I do better than competition? What am I good at? What I can do well? If you wake me up in the middle of night at 2 o'clock, I can come out on those with flying colors. What are my weaknesses? What I kind of shake, what I am hesitant to do. So I discover my weaknesses. The third step is to look at environment and do opportunities and threats, because as we said, opportunity threats from external environment. So we go back to an external environment, including anything outside your function, and say, okay, what are the threats in the industry, society, or other functions that affect me? And I put that together in the form of a strength weaknesses, which is called SWOT analysis. Right? So that's how you do a SWOT. So then the question is, how do I do success factor analysis? Right? We're getting into deep each of the phases, right? So success factor analysis can be done simply, as you see, by a very simple process, by identifying key success factors. Again, it's a question of asking few questions. You have to ask, okay, in the areas, you take each goals, right? You have receivables, you have sales, you have relationship. You pick one goal at a time. And you say, who has succeeded? And here, who means anyone in the company. If you are working in a company as a sales professional, be other sales. So who is the best guy in the company? Who has succeeded in not only meeting, but exceeding sales target? Who has succeeded and who has not succeeded? Who is the worst guy? If it could be you, you could include that in. And what is the point of difference between the two? Person who is succeeding versus who has not succeeded. The point of difference is start giving you pointer towards your success factor. So it says, hey, the guy who has succeeded so well has done this versus who has not succeeded so well. So is it a possible strategy, a key success factor that I can look at? Then you look at what has succeeded. So you have many goals. So that person has done well. Some things he has succeeded, some he has not succeeded. So what has succeeded? What has not succeeded? Again, point of difference. Where has he or she succeeded, or where have you succeeded? Where you have not succeeded? It could be geography. It could be clients. So where is the third dimension? When has that person succeeded? When have you succeeded? When have you not succeeded? And what are the point of difference? How much have you succeeded in one area or time? How much have you not succeeded? And then again a point. So whole emphasis in discovering between points of difference between the times, places, things that you or others have succeeded versus what has not succeeded or who has not succeeded, and discovering those points of differences, and that gives you success factors. Once you have the success factor 5 to 7, those major points of differences, what you do is a strength weakness analysis. What you do is you list your key success factor in the first column. Then you say, who are your competitors? In this case, it will be your external competitors, right? We are not going to talk about the other sales professionals within the company. So who are your main competitors with whom you want to compete and get your business? So if you have to grow a business, so there's a concept of target competitors. Who are my competitors? Whom am I going to go and get businesses? And then I say, what does that company's position on that success factor? And where is my position? And am I better than my competitor, or am I worse off that competitor? If I'm better than competitor on that success factor, I have a strength in that success factor. Please remember that success factors are critical to determining strengths and weaknesses. If you are better on something that is not a critical success factor, it's not a relevant strength. So you need to have what is called relevant strengths. Example, you and your company can have a lot of money versus your competitor. But if money is not critical in achieving the results, then what good is that strength which cannot come in use in achieving the results? So you need to stick to the key success factors and determine strengths and weaknesses. Understood? Any questions here? The third step is determining strength, opportunities and threats, and in which I'm using the Michael Porter's 5 forces model here. Wonderful work again, done by Michael Porter. In which we look at what are the players or forces in the industry. And there are 6 forces that we have listed here. current buyers, potential buyers, substitutes, current competitors, new competitors, and your suppliers, government, society, etc. And then you look at, you ask these questions, either through a formal research or your own understanding, and say, who are they? So you list people down. Who are your current major buyers? So you take one row at a time. You say, who are my current major buyers? What are they doing in terms of their business strategy, business work to grow the business? What are they doing? And what are they will continue to do in next couple of years? So you discover these are what is called trends. And this comes from your knowledge. And if you don't have the knowledge, you can even go and talk to them. You can go, if your, say, Accenture is the topmost client, you say, wonderful, sir, great working with you. Can I schedule a 15-minute session with you to understand some things that can help me do better for you, sir? And there you question me, say, hey, I'd like to understand, sir, what are your business plans for a couple of years? What are you planning to do? What are the directions that you're taking? What are you doing this year and next year? And listen. And that will give you some pointers towards the trends that is going to happen. Once you have those trends, you say, okay, if this is what they're going to do, does it provide me an opportunity, or is there anything that they're doing that can threaten me? Example, if I'm going to go to, let's say, a large company, let's say Reliance Retail, right? And they say we're going to open more stores. So you say, oh, wonderful. If they're going to open more stores, is that my opportunity? How do I make sure that I get my product placed in those new stores? If they say we're going to consolidate the lines, so okay, consolidate the lines, that could be a threat. So are they going to consolidate my lines? Am I still be in their consideration set? So that becomes a threat. So consolidation of lines could become a threat. Expansion of more stores could become an opportunity. It's like this you do for potential buyers, you do for substitutes, you do for competitors. Competitors normally give you threats. At times they could give you maybe wonderfully if they can give you some opportunities. So you discover this for each of the forces. And then once you have that, you plot them on a high impact, on an impact and occurrence probability, and focus on those opportunities and threats that can affect you in a significant manner. Don't worry about small opportunities and small threats, because that is not going to make a difference to your life. And that is likely to happen. So if the probability of occurrence is high and the impact is high, you choose those opportunities and threats. And that goes, as you see in your next slide, in your SWOT summary. So in your SWOT summary, we take the strengths that we develop at the second step, about strength and weaknesses, and it could be current and potential, right? Important thing to note. Current is something that you're good at, but potential is something that I am not so good, but I'm 98% confident that I will develop the strength in next 3 months. So you can say that's my potential strength. And similarly, there could be potential weaknesses. And then you write those high impact, high probability of occurrence, opportunity, and this becomes your SWOT. So what do you do with SWOT now? So you have your SWOT now. And we still are using this. We are still the stage of wondering how to use this SWOT to determine the right goals, right expectation that my manager has. So what do you do with this SWOT here? Any thoughts? Want to take a 15-second break and come back and tell me what you think? Note down on a piece of paper. Okay. So what you do is you use the SWOT to assess the expectation, as we had promised initially and indicated earlier. What you do is you put SWOT on one side, and ideally if you're doing in a conference room or a table, on one side you put your SWOT summary, and on another side you put the initial expectations of your management in the form of goals and objective, as he had stated. And you ask those 4 golden questions. Are there enough opportunities to convert and meet and exceed each of the goals? Do I have strengths? So first you look at opportunities and say, do I have enough opportunities to take those goals? Each of those 4, 5, 6 goals that you have. Second, you say, okay, I have those opportunities. Or if I don't have opportunity, you can say, no, this is a doubtful case. And then you could be going back to your manager and saying, hey, sir, I understand you wanting me to take these goals, but there are not enough opportunities. This is why there are not enough opportunity. You might have an opportunity and then you say, okay, do I have enough strength in this? You might have opportunity, but if you do not strength, you won't be able to convert. So and then you can say, I don't have strength in this. I need to develop the strengths. Maybe I'll keep it for next year, not this year, in the while develop strengths. Third thing, I said that I have these potential weak threats. Can I mitigate them? So if I can mitigate them, wonderful. If not, that can affect achievement of my sales goals, sales target. And then there are weaknesses that I need to take care of. So you use those 4 wonderful questions to see whether you have in your SWOT something in terms of strength, weakness, opportunity that can help you achieve those goals. And if it can, based on that, you go to your manager and review your expectation and agree on goals and objectives, objectives and goals in a very objective manner, rather than bargaining in terms of horse trading. So what did we learn in this module? So as you see on your screen, what we learned in this territory sales strategy development process starts with setting up the right objectives and goals. That's the first step. And then there are 3 other steps. So, and setting right goals and objectives is very important. And you can set the right objectives and goals by going back to your manager and understanding his or her expectation, assessing those expectations using SWOT. And now we know what SWOT is. Reviewing those expectations with your manager and agree, taking the SWOT and your goals and sitting together and saying, sir, let's see realistically whether it can be achieved. You can assess your manager expectation after using SWOT by asking those 4 questions. Are there enough opportunities to meet and exceed these objectives? Do we have strengths to convert these opportunities? Can we mitigate the potential threats? Can we either take care of our weaknesses or make them ineffective? And we also learned that we can do the SWOT by following steps. First, doing the success factor analysis, strength and weakness analysis, and opportunities and threats analysis. And one of the important things we learned is the SWOT, the strength and weaknesses needs to be relevant to the key success factors of the industry. Right? So that's what we learned. So what are we going to do in the next module? In the next module, we're going to go through the remaining 3 steps of the annual sales plan, as you see on your screen, of developing the strategy, key projects, and assigning responsibility and timing. And once we do that in the next module, we will have our strategy ready, the knowledge of developing strategy ready with us to apply. So thank you so much for watching this module where we looked at how can we set goals in developing strategy for a territory that can help you become a excellent sales professionals. I hope you are continuing to learn and enjoy this module. I look forward to seeing you again in the next module where we will talk about the remaining 3 steps of developing the annual sales plan.